Welcome to Season 2 of SEO Deep Dive by Map Rank Hack. This season, we decode what's holding your rankings back, reveal hidden growth levers, and explore where Google Maps is heading next. Let's dive deeper.
Okay, so forget chasing those perfect 5-star Google reviews for just a second.
Right.
Today, we're diving into something a little, well, counterintuitive. Could aiming for that flawless 5.0 score actually be hurting your business?
That's exactly it. We're looking beyond just getting more reviews. We're digging into how those reviews, the good, the bad, the kind of average ones, how they really impact your visibility on Google.
And maybe more importantly, whether customers actually trust you based on them.
Precisely. Trust is key.
Okay, so let's kick things off with that trust idea. Because honestly, it really flipped my understanding. Turns out, people aren't always sold on a perfect 5.0 rating.
No, they're often not. Research consistently shows that, consumers tend to trust businesses more when their average rating is somewhere in the 4.2 to 4.7 range.
Really? 4.2 to 4.7. But why? Wouldn't a perfect score seem, I don't know, better?
You'd think so, but maybe not. Think about it from the customer's perspective for a moment. A perfect score, it might seem a little too good to be true.
Uh-huh. Like, is it fake?
Exactly. Or are they hiding bad reviews? Maybe they just don't have enough reviews yet for it to be, realistic. There's actually research from Northwestern University supporting this.
Yeah. What did they find?
They found purchase likelihood actually peaks between a 4.0 and 4.7 rating. And it can even dip a bit as you get closer to that perfect 5 stars.
Wow. So having a few reviews that aren't perfect could actually make you seem more trustworthy. That's kind of wild.
It is, right. But those occasional, maybe milder negative reviews, they can lend this air of authenticity. It makes the positive ones seem more genuine.
Okay, so it shows you're not hiding anything.
Pretty much. It suggests transparency. And here's another interesting tidbit. About 70% of consumers, when they filter searches, they look for 4 stars and up.
70%?
Yeah. But only about 10% specifically filter just for 5-star businesses. People are actively looking for places that are really good, but maybe not suspiciously flawless.
It's like we have this built-in nothing's perfect detector. So a business claiming perfection feels a bit off.
Exactly that. There's this natural wariness of absolute perfection. Some customers, even if they had a great experience, might hesitate to give a full 5 stars. And think about this too. An overall rating of, say, 4.9, it makes any minor negative comments seem pretty insignificant against all the positive stuff.
Right, it puts them in perspective.
So that 4.0 to 4.7 range, it really seems to be the sweet spot. It balances positivity with, believable reality.
Okay. Forget the obsession with a flawless score.
Yeah.
Got it. But what about Google itself? Is Google just looking at that average number, or is there more going on, like, behind the scenes?
Oh, it's way more sophisticated than just averaging the stars. Google's algorithm dives deep into the actual content of the reviews, what people are writing.
They're actually reading the reviews, like with AI.
Absolutely. Google uses artificial intelligence, natural language processing, NLP, and sentiment analysis to really interpret the text.
So they tell if someone's happy, angry, sarcastic even.
Pretty much. They identify emotions, pick out important keywords, understand nuances. Their own cloud natural language API can do this kind of detailed text analysis.
So if someone writes, like, the mechanic explained everything really clearly, that specific detail helps Google understand what that business does.
Precisely. When customers naturally use relevant keywords, maybe specific services or product features, even the atmosphere, it gives Google really valuable signals about your business.
So it improves relevance for searches.
Definitely. It strengthens your relevance for local searches related to those terms. Plus, Google really values authentic reviews, the ones with specific examples and stories. They tell a much richer story than just, great service.
Right. Great service doesn't tell you much.
And remember, Google's using AI, including its Gemini model now, specifically to sniff out and filter suspicious or fake reviews. They're getting better at it.
So a review saying, they fixed my flat super fast and even checked my other tires, is way more valuable than just 5 stars, good job.
Exactly. That specificity, that detail, it's gold. For Google and for potential customers trying to get a real feel for things.
Okay. Now, beyond the actual text, what other review factors does Google care about?
Right. So think of it like a review trinity. Quantity, quality, and recency.
Okay. Quantity, quality, recency.
Yeah.
So quantity, more reviews are always better. right? Just get as many as possible.
Well, yes and no, up to a point. Having a decent number of reviews is important, sure. It signals to Google that you're a legitimate, established business.
Uh-huh.
But the quality of those reviews often carries more weight than just sheer volume. A few recent, well-written, detailed positive reviews, they can be much more impactful than tons of vague or old ones.
So quality over quantity sometimes.
Often, yes.
Yeah.
High-quality, detailed reviews are a really strong trust signal, and some data suggests that getting maybe around 10 reviews could be a minimum threshold for seeing a noticeable boost in local search rankings.
10 reviews.
Yeah.
That's a tangible number. And what about recency? How important is it that the reviews are new?
Oh, it's absolutely critical. Think about it. Both customers and Google want the current picture of a business, right?
Yeah, you don't want feedback from 3 years ago telling you what it's like now.
Exactly. Recent feedback is seen as more accurate. Google's algorithm naturally favors fresh, relevant content, and that includes recent reviews. It shows you're an active, engaged business.
So it's not just a one-time push, you need a steady flow.
That's the ideal, yeah. A consistent stream of specific, insightful reviews over time. While getting a bunch of reviews at once can help, maintaining that steady flow of new, high-quality feedback, that's key for long-term relevance and trust.
It really sounds like managing your online reputation is way more strategic than just, crossing your fingers and hoping for good reviews.
It absolutely is. And managing it strategically, that directly impacts how potential customers behave when they actually find you online.
What kind of impact are we talking? Do good reviews actually translate into, real business?
Yeah.
More calls, more visits?
Definitely. Reviews significantly influence user behavior. We're talking click-through rates from search results, the number of phone calls you get, even requests for driving directions.
Wow.
Businesses with higher average ratings and lots of positive comments, they typically see a clear increase in clicks from Google.
And people do actually read the comments, right? They don't just glance at the star rating.
Oh, absolutely. People read the reviews. And those personal, story-driven reviews, the ones with some emotion, they tend to drive far more conversions than just generic praise.
So people connect with the stories.
Yeah, and they often look for reviews from people like them, people with similar needs or tastes. And remember what we said earlier about filters?
Right, skipping the 5.0 filter.
Exactly. Many users look at 4-star ratings and up. They're looking for businesses that feel real, relatable. Honestly, a 4.6 rating with lots of great, insightful context, that's often preferred over a flat 5.0 with zero substance.
So trustworthy reviews really drive sales.
That's the bottom line. Trust drives conversions.
Okay, so for businesses listening, what are some smart ways to manage reviews beyond just begging everyone for 5 stars?
Well, the main thing is to aim for credibility, not perfection. Encourage your customers to share details in their feedback, not just click a star.
How do you do that?
You can ask specific questions. Instead of just leave a review, maybe ask, what was the highlight of your experience? Or what specific part of our service did you find most valuable? That prompts richer, keyword-filled content.
Guide them a little.
Yeah. And having a clear process for responding to reviews is crucial too, especially negative ones.
Right, responding shows you care.
Exactly. Prompt responses show engagement, show you want to resolve issues. And a huge rule, never, ever buy fake reviews.
Oh yeah, definitely not.
Google's getting really good at detecting them, especially with AI like Gemini. Getting caught can seriously wreck your reputation. Just focus on giving great service and then genuinely asking satisfied customers to share their thought.
Makes sense. What about those review management platforms you see advertised? Are they worth looking into for smaller businesses?
Well, there are definitely some big comprehensive systems out there. Podium, Reputation.com, Bird Eye, those kinds of names. They offer a lot, but they're often geared towards larger companies, enterprise clients with bigger budgets.
Okay, so maybe overkill for a local shop.
Could be, but there are also more specialized services like Maps SEO experts that focus specifically on helping small and mid-sized businesses with effective ethical review strategies without those really high enterprise costs. So options exist.
Good to know. Okay, so you mentioned ranking signals and trust signals earlier. Can you kind of break down the difference there? What helps you rank versus what builds trust?
Sure. So ranking signals are the factors that can directly influence where you show up in Google's local search results.
Like what?
Things like your total number of reviews, your average star rating, how often you get new reviews, that's called review velocity, how recent your reviews are, and whether there are relevant keywords in the review text itself.
Okay, those help Google place you.
Right. Then you have trust signals. These are the elements that build confidence with actual potential customers looking at your profile.
And those are.
That includes having an average rating in that 4.0 to 4.7 sweet spot we talked about. Having a mix of reviews, mostly positive, but maybe a few less than perfect ones, adds authenticity. Detailed, specific reviews are a huge trust signal. How responsive you are to reviews matters. And yeah, even the overall number of reviews contributes to trust, too.
So some things, like the number of reviews and the average rating, they kind of do both. They help with ranking and trust.
Exactly. They pull double duty. But the key is a balanced approach. Don't obsess over a perfect 5.0 if it means sacrificing authenticity.
Right.
And don't just chase quantity if the reviews are empty or generic. You need to think long term. You're building visibility, yes, but you're also building a lasting reputation. Reviews are both a tool to get found and a reflection of your brand.
That's a really important distinction. So finally, anything new from Google on the review front that businesses really need to be aware of right now?
Yeah, actually, the November 2023 reviews update was pretty significant. It basically expanded Google's review system focus to cover all types of businesses, not just, say, product reviews like it used to emphasize.
So it applies more broadly now.
Much more broadly. It shows Google's putting even more weight on the quality, the helpfulness, the tone of review content. It lines up with their whole helpful content update philosophy.
Makes sense. Everything has to be helpful.
Pretty much. And think about AI overviews showing up in search results now. Those really stand out, genuinely helpful reviews, they might get pulled into those featured summaries. That's huge visibility potential.
Wow, okay.
And as we've touched on, Google keeps getting better and faster at detecting and deleting fake reviews, especially using AI like Gemini.
So stay ethical.
Absolutely. The main takeaway is businesses need a continuous, ethical approach. Focus on giving amazing customer experiences because that's what naturally leads to those positive, informative reviews that both Google and customers love.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. To summarize, what's the ideal state for our Google reviews? What should businesses really be aiming for?
Well, that sweet spot seems to be aiming for a star rating somewhere in the, let's say, 4.4 to 4.7 range. That whole 4.0 to 4.7 zone is where trust really peaks.
Okay, 4.4, 4.7 ideally.
Yeah, and you need that supported by a good number of authentic reviews coming in consistently over time. Encourage your happy customers, prompt them to share stories, specific details, not just drop a star rating.
Use reviews to tell your story.
Exactly. Show the human side, the specifics, the local feel, why you're trustworthy. Remember, the goal isn't chasing that elusive, maybe even suspicious, perfect score. It's about building lasting credibility.
Credibility for Google and for customers.
Both. And be proactive. Manage your reviews, respond professionally, especially to criticism, and just steer clear of any shady, inauthentic tactics.
That is an incredibly useful deep dive into what's really happening with Google reviews. Thanks so much for clarifying all that.
My pleasure. It's definitely a complex area, but, understanding these nuances can genuinely make a difference for businesses trying to succeed online.
Absolutely. And that wraps up this deep dive. Join us next time when we explore another really interesting aspect of online visibility.
Yeah, we'll be looking into the impact of actually showing up yourself, like using your face or name in your Google business profile. Does that make a difference?
Ooh, interesting. From review strategies to personal branding on Google. Until then, stay smart, stay found.
Thanks for diving deeper with us. For more cutting-edge tips that actually hack the map rank, follow the show and join us again. Until then, stay sharp, stay local, and stay ahead.